Three homages. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami.
Good morning and welcome. Thank you all for being here this morning. Lovely to see you. And thank you to those at home for tuning in and sharing this special, precious time together. We will begin our service chanting the Shoshinge and offering incense. For those who are new to the temple, welcome. The Shoshinge is a poem in a book located in the seat back pocket in front of you. If you want to take that out. And we chant the Shoshinge by opening the book from the back and chanting in vertical columns from right to left. So just feel it. It's more important to feel that good energy than to try to figure out how to chant in Japanese for the first time. So the energy is very positive and wholesome, and it just feels really good. So chanting is a core practice of our Shin Buddhist tradition. Our founder, Shinran Shonin, the monk at the top of the pictures there, wrote the Shoshinge more than 850 years ago, and it compresses his own experiences and insights of practicing Pure Land Buddhism into one pleasantly long poem. He is certainly with us today. In it, we realize the principles that guide our lives. Shinran wanted us to know that we are more than just a part of a simple journey from cradle to grave. We are part of a long, unbroken thread of life, which extends deep into the past, and we are responsible for helping to continue that thread into the future. During our Shoshinge chanting, we will offer incense, and we invite everyone to come up and offer incense. The offering is a cleansing of the mind and body before receiving the Dharma, the teachings. The burning of incense symbolizes the transcending of selfishness to become one with all. We have two other altars in our hondo. We call our sanctuary a hondo in Japanese. On one side is the Kannon altar. Kannon is the Bodhisattva of compassion. She always is with Amida Buddha. And you can offer a candle there, and she is the one who hears the cries of the world. So if you are having some problems that you want her to listen to, you can light a candle there, or if a dear one has transcended to another realm, you can also light a candle for that dear person. On the other side of our hondo is our medicine Buddha altar. The medicine Buddha is healing energy to overcome any illness, also illness from ignorant, upside-down views, or physical illness, mental, emotional illness. So you may offer incense there as well. And for those at home, please offer incense at your home altar and chant along with us, offering deep gratitude to the infinite wisdom and compassion of the universe that surrounds us every day. Amida Buddha. Thank you very much. Sho Shinge. Kimyo Muryo Junyorai. Namu Fukashigi Ko Hozo Bosa Iniji Zai Seiji Zai Obusho Token Shobu Jodo-in Kokudo Ninden Shizen Maku Konru Mujo Shushogan Choho Keu Daiguze Goko Shiyui Shishoju Juse Myosho Monji Po Uho Muryo Muhenko Muge Mutai Koen no Shoujo Kangi Chie Ko Fudan Nanshi Mushoko Chonichiga Ko Shojin Se Isai Gunjo Mukosho Hongam Yogo Shoujogo Shishin Chingyo Ganni In Joto Gakusho Dai Nehan Hishi Mendo Ganjoju Nyorai Shoi Koshu Se Yui Se Mida Hongon Kai Gojoku Akuji Gunjo Kai Oshin Nyorai Ryojitgon Noho Ichinen Kiai Shin Fudan Bon no Tokune Han Bonsho Gyaku Hosai E Ryu Yoshu Shinyu Kai Chimi Seishu Shinko Joshogo Ino Sui Ha Mumyo An Tonnai Shinzo Shi Unmu Shofu Shinji Shinjin Ten Hinyo Niko Fu Unmu Unmu Shige Myomu An Gyakushin Kenkyo Daikyo Ki Sokuo Chosego Akushu Isai Zen Makubon Bunin Monshin Yorai Guzegan Butengon Kodai Shogesha Zeini Myo Fundarike Midabu Honganenbu Jaken Kyoman Akushujo Shingyo Juji Jinni Nan Nanchu Shina Mukashi Indo Saiten Shironge Chukhajichi Iki Shikoso Kendai Shoko Se Shoi Myonyo Rai Honze Oki Shaka Nyorai Ryoga Sen Ishu Gomyo Nanten Jiku Ryuju Daiji Shuto Se Shitno Zai Ha Umuken Senze Daijo Mujo Ho Shokangi Ji Shoan Raku Kenji Nangyo Rokuroku Shingyo Igyo Shidoraku Okunen Midabu Hongan Jinen Sokuji Ryu Hitjo Yui no Jo Shonyo Raigo おほ大悲偶勢音天神菩薩増論世奇妙無下根如来永寿ただ謙信寺高専王朝大聖願こういう本願力栄光移動群上小維新記入空読大崩壊筆脈入大永収集特使蓮華造世界即小信用法昇進有望の人間人図入賞寺音寺王下本寺動乱両天使上高乱小菩薩来三蔵ルシ十上教本書専業気楽法天神菩薩論中下報道因果見世願王言栄光有他力少女死因唯心人惑前本部新人法承知承知即涅槃必死無量光明道小宇宙上開復系同社継承道難所唯名浄土活入万全自力変言中円満特語感染症三風三神慶音言増魔法明道非因一生増惑地偶勢死安妖怪小妙化全道独名無所依公愛上三有逆惑公明明語見二年開入本願大智慧行者小樹金剛心狂気一年総合用意大東逆三人即小法小四上楽原神公開一大教変気安養官二祭先祖出身反戦人法慶二道小弁流極十悪人唯小部大悪罪非正集中煩悩証言水不見大非無見上昇が本次元空用仏教連民全幕本部人新中教書後編集戦弱本願具惑星現代生じ伝芸慶地義上位少子即ぬ弱上無意楽非知信事に納入仏教大事修士と上際無変極辱惑同族自主武道心唯過信し高祖聖ナムアミダブナムアミダムナムアミダブナムアミダブナムアミダブナムミダジョブのこの方は今 えたまえり星のこうりいえぬきわもなくせのもみょうを照らすなり。
Page 35.
ナムアミダムナムアミダムナムアミダムナムアミダブナアミダブナムはアミダブナムはアミダブナムはアミダブナムはアミダブナム枝の降臨きはもなしおそくかむるものはみいなうむを離ると述べたもおう平等かくに奇妙せよ栄光願にしくどく平等せさいどうぼ大心おじょはあんらこナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブナンマンダブ
we'd like to invite any children who would like to experience Dharma school, as well as maybe the older children as well, their parents, to follow Reverend Shelley and Aaron downstairs. And we will sing them out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let Buddha walk with you, let the Buddha walk with you, let the Buddha walk, just walk. Let the Buddha walk with you, let the Buddha walk with you, let the Buddha walk with you, let the Buddha walk, just walk, let the Buddha walk with you.
Good morning. The Kakayanagata Sutra. Thus I have heard, when the Buddha was staying at Savatthi, at the Jeta Grove, in a monastery donated by Anathapindika, the student Kakayanagata approached the Buddha with a question. Right understanding. Right understanding. I don't know about right understanding. Can you teach me how right understanding relates to the world? The Buddha spoke. Kakayana, the confusion and deluded thinking in the world arises from polarizing views. There is the view of permanent existence and a view of permanent non-existence. When the source of this confused and deluded thinking is recognized and abandoned by assuming a right understanding, you can see that non-existence does not occur, as well as you can see that existence, as we commonly label it, does not occur. The world the average person lives in is sustained by attachments, by clinging to conditioned thinking and wrong views rooted in ignorance of the Four Noble Truths. One who has developed right understanding no longer clings to attachment, no longer fixated in conditioned thinking or the self-obsession of my identity. With mindfulness, we can see that suffering arising is suffering arising. We see clearly that suffering passing away is suffering passing away. This knowledge is dependent of other wrong views. This is how right understanding relates to the world. The views that everything exists or that nothing exists are also wrong views. My Dharma avoids such extremes. I teach from the middle. I teach the Eightfold Path as the middle way that avoids extreme views. The middle way shows that suffering comes from and depends on ignorance. With ignorance of the Four Noble Truths come fabrications. From fabrications comes consciousness. From consciousness comes name and form. From name and form comes the six sense bases. From the six sense bases comes contact. From contact comes feeling. From feeling comes craving. From craving, clinging. From clinging, becoming. From becoming, birth. From birth, aging, sickness, death, and despair. Such is the origination of extreme views and the entire mass of confusion, delusion, and stress. Now, when we study the Dharma, this ignorance fades away, and the fabrications fade, and the consciousness fades, and name and form fades, and the sixth sense bases, and contact, and feeling, and craving fades, and clinging, and becoming, and birth, aging, death, and sorrow all fade. Such is the cessation of this entire mass of stress and suffering. This nirvana. Now, this, students, is the noble truth of life lived without joy. Birth is stressful. Aging is stressful. Death is stressful. Sorrow, regret, pain, distress, and despair are stressful. Association with the unloved is difficult. Separation from the loved is difficult. Not getting what is wanted or getting what isn't wanted are not joyful. In short, the 5 clinging aggregates are stressful and block the joy of life. And this, students, is the noble truth of the nullification of joy. Craving and wanting creates further becoming, accompanied by passion and delight, relishing now here and now there. That is craving for fleeting sensual pleasure, craving for becoming, craving for non-becoming. And this, students, is the noble truth leading to joyful life, the freedom and cessation of stress, renunciation, release, and letting go of that very craving. And this, students, is the noble truth of path of leading to joy, precisely this noble eightfold path. Right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right quietude. Kakayanagata was well satisfied with this answer and took his leave. We will now have a few minutes of meditation accompanied by peaceful music.
Hello, friends. Nice to see you all today. What a joyful, full weekend it has been. We had our Art Town performance and shared many chants with all kinds of folks who found us on the Art Town website, I think. And on Friday night, and then a contingent of us went to the Pride Parade yesterday and braved the smoke, but the happy energy was so strong that the smoke seemed irrelevant. So, it's been a big weekend. It's like a carnival, actually, yesterday. So, if you are new to us, please recognize that you are always welcome at Reno Buddhist Center. We're glad you found us. If please try the different activities that are available at our center. There's chanting on Tuesday, Dharma book group, Golden Light meditation, refuge recovery, and yoga offered at the temple. So there's a schedule on the back of the order of service that explain those things. If you would like to talk more about Buddhism or about the service, you're encouraged to come to the Basic Buddhism Circle after the service. We'll maybe go downstairs, get some tea, and then come back here and make a circle of chairs up here. So, at the Basic Buddhism Circle, you can ask a question or listen to other people's questions. Good. We just want to get to know people, and that's a good way to do it. Today I will take up the first of the 8 limbs of the Eightfold Path. We say limbs of the path because, I don't know if you can see the Dharma Chakra, it's gone. The Dharma Chakra there on the podium has 8 spokes. In the olden days, they would make spokes out of the limbs of trees, and so we say the limbs of the path. Okay, so, Eightfold Path. The first limb of the path is just right understanding, samyak drishti. A just right understanding is the foundation of our view of the world. In the sutra, we heard the words of the Buddha to Kaccayana, illuminating what he meant by just right understanding. With an accurate and well-founded view, we can make progress on the path. If our view is upside down, then we suffer it more and more. So, Dr. Matsunaga, one of our founders, used to say that right understanding is seeing reality as it is. Seeing without distortion or fanciful fiction. Magic and superstition are not supported by Buddhism. A just right understanding is one that includes these fundamental concepts: anatta, anicca, karma, dukkha, and nirvana. So if it has those 5 things, it's a just right understanding. This is the big idea part of Buddhism. I think a lot of people are attracted to that. And there are great thoughts, and we enjoy engaging and debating and clarifying what they mean. So, anatta, anicca, karma, dukkha, and nirvana. Anatta. What is that? Usually translated as non-self, it is the nature of everything. That means that everything is not really separate. Though we experience life in a separated and lonely way, that is an error. Really, everything is an event, or a confluence of causes and conditions coming together in that moment. Like waves on the ocean. We see wind and water and currents and gravity come together, and it makes the wave. But if we take away just one cause, we have no wave. The true nature of our self is like this. Sometimes we call it emptiness because we are empty of separateness. This is why the Buddha described our true nature as non-self. In the sutra, he intimated that existence and non-existence are both wrong views. We are simply part of everything. We should use a stronger word than part, but there isn't really a stronger word for that in English. So we might say we are completely interconnected with, or we are essential to all phenomena. Now, our ego does not see it that way. It ignores most of the world and pinpoints either what we want or what we don't want, attraction and aversion, as its big focus. And so it ignores the wonderful, supportive fabric, the oneness of everything that we live in. In that ignorance, we suffer. This actual oneness is the basis of our Pure Land school of Buddhism. We see all extreme efforting to become a Buddha are expressions of false pride, of ego. All we really need to do is to take refuge in Amida Buddha with a pure assurance, a true and trusting heart, and check our ego at the door. Namu Amida Butsu does that. This trust alone is what it takes to bring about birth in the Pure Land of Amida, to come to an unobstructed mind state. That's what birth is. In the Pure Land, all the obstacles standing in the way of becoming Buddha are removed, so that birth is the last birth before Buddhahood. Anatta, the non-self nature of being, makes the Nembutsu effective, not by the self, but by all that is beyond the self, other power, by virtue of this non-self nature of all that is, we reach Buddhahood. And then we will return out of compassion to help all those suffering beings in samsara. The second element of right understanding is anicca. What is anicca? It is changefulness, the inherent quality of all that exists to change into something else. We may cling tenaciously to an object of desire, but it will soon change. And so we miss out on the joy of living life. If we understand anicca in a just right way, we will suffer less. And we will be able to respond to the suffering of others in a more compassionate way. This is how self-understanding feeds compassion. With the ability to see the process of suffering in ourselves, it arises, it flowers, and then it declines. We can gain insight to all beings. Just as we struggle, they struggle. They deserve our compassion, not our ridicule. Anicca is essential to the operation of the universe and to spiritual growth. Without change, what would our planet be like? What if things never rotted away? We would be up to our gills in stuff. That would not be good. What if children never grew up? That is unthinkable. So, change is good until we cling to a changeful object, and then we experience all manner of pain and difficulty. I want my youth back. I want my wealth back. I want my power. Anything that has changed and become something else. Who I am is changing and becoming. That's disorienting if we don't know it is the nature of everything. These are our great fears, all part of grasping after changeful elements in the universe. And dukkha is usually translated as suffering, sometimes stress or unsatisfactoriness. Unsatisfactoriness is really a pretty good description of dukkha, except it's too long a word to use in a sentence without, like, you forget what you were talking about by the time you say unsatisfactoriness. Yeah. So we'll just say suffering or joylessness or something. Have you ever experienced that feeling? Me too. It is important that we clearly recognize that life is a bumpy road. We all experience disappointments, fear, and sadness. Some of us just hit more potholes than others as we drive through the road of life. We can't avoid them. These disturbances are a natural part of human existence, and sometimes we forget this, or we don't want to accept it. We expect our road to be smooth. Other people's roads, yeah, they can be bumpy, but mine, it should be smooth, right? Not so. Buddhism describes these types of potholes in the road of life: dukkha, birth, aging, illness, death, being separated from loved ones, having to associate with those we dislike, and not getting what we desire, being attached to the 5 components of the skandhas, what we call I, or the self, the components of that. We shouldn't turn away from the bumps in the road. Know that they are not there to punish you for being evil or because you're a failure. That is not why the bumps are there. If we face them, we can learn from them, and we can grow. Difficulties are stepping stones toward the ultimate Buddhist goal, which is to become Buddha, or to reach our highest spiritual growth. And karma, a just right understanding of karma. So the first thing to recognize is that karma means action. It does not mean retribution or something. In English, strangely enough, karma does actually mean retribution. It's just been distorted into English from the languages it actually lives in. So, karma means just an action. And then it also means the process where seeds are planted by one action, and then it will bear fruit sooner or later. Most of these seeds are planted in our being, in our ongoing consciousness, planted in the spiritual realm. Karma is not a physical mechanism. So if I twist somebody's arm, it does not mean later somehow my arm will be twisted. That would require a kind of magical puppet engineer in the sky, and we don't have that in Buddhism. So. But this karmic consciousness thing is affected by everything we do. And what is the karmic consciousness? It's kind of the delusion of self that calls itself I, me, and my. That's the non-self that the Buddha identified. The ongoing, ever-changing you. The wave on the ocean. But our ego self is different. It's like a wave on the ocean that really believes that it is not ocean. It objects to being called part of the ocean. That's what we're doing. This is what carries the fruit of our actions, our karma. They're habit and energies that are generated by our actions. And in this way, our karma leads us either toward or away from spiritual growth. If we get out of the habit of thinking about important things, then we don't really think about important things, and we can't grow. We can't find those lessons in the bumps in the road of life. But if we do it well, if we put mindfulness and attention toward that, then we can get kind of better at it. So, that was karma. Got it? Okay. And lastly, nirvana. We seldom talk about this, the Buddha's end game of nirvana. You know the word nirvana, right? From the band. I'm just kidding. Some of you are too young for that, I understand. Nirvana seems very abstract, and really, the path is the thing. To be on the path toward. The Buddha used many different words for nirvana. Words like the lamp, the shelter, the refuge, the unconditioned, the deathless, freedom, the truth, the other shore, the peaceful, the wonderful, the secure, the amazing, the subtle, and the very difficult to see. In our tradition, we just turn toward Amida and let all the achieving nirvana stuff take care of itself. Dr. Matsunaga said that he had never talked about nirvana at length in the 20 years of schooling he went through in Japan to become a priest and everything and get his master's degree until he came to Claremont in Southern California. And then they talked about it all the time. He thought it was kind of silly, but just a very different culture. We want to know, well, so what is the end thing? In Japan, they wanted to understand the process, so start at the beginning. In some ways, we equate nirvana with the Sukhavati, with the Pure Land. A birth there makes enlightenment easy and inevitable. Many of the traditional metaphors for nirvana apply to descriptions of Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Amida, as Amitayus, is deathless. Sukhavati is a true refuge. Amida's light reaches everywhere, and that is amazing and wonderful, as well as subtle and difficult to see. As with the Pure Land, nirvana is not a static, ultimate state that is in any way separate from the world. Rather, it is always present and always accessible. Sukhavati is both inconceivably far away to the west and right here. With deep hearing, we can experience it in the sounds of the birds and bugs, in the wind and rain, even in the smoke and the blue sky. Amida is found in the smile of a child and the kind and comforting words of a stranger. Amida's great compassion, boundless and unconditional, is experienced in every small compassionate act. Nirvana interwoven into samsara. So, for a few weeks, we will be talking about these 8 limbs of the path, 8-fold path. I just like the limb thing, and I always do it in Dharma talks, and I've never seen anybody say, wow, that limb thing was really great. But I just think it's nice to know that the Buddha used the word limb. It's important. Okay, the 8-fold path. Let's say the path is folded. But that's why I say it, because if the path is folded, I mean, I can fold my robe, but how do I fold a path? Okay, letting go of that. There are 8 aspects to the way that leads to enlightenment. The great natural way. Enlightenment is at the end of that path. Nirvana is at the end. It's a sought-after goal. It is clear we are all held within Amida's light. That is all the light we require. We don't struggle and strive after enlightenment as an exclusive goal of life. Rather, we simply navigate life skillfully and helpfully as we can. Just right understanding on the 8-fold path makes living beneficial to others. It makes a life of service possible. These 5 aspects of just right understanding, anatta, anicca, karma, dukkha, and nirvana. Non-self, changefulness, joylessness, causality, and freedom. Those ideas. In the old days in China, they used to say you had to hang around the temple for about 10 years to get it. It's not that long, really, if you think about it. And we're modern people, so we can understand things really fast, right? Yeah. 10 years, 5 years, okay. Okay. Please remember the other important bit of the Kaccayana Sutra, that right understanding includes understanding the Four Noble Truths, that life can be joyful, that it is not for many of us because of wanting and grasping, that if we stop grasping and clinging, joy will flow in, and that the way to end grasping and clinging lies in the Eightfold Path. Namu Amida Butsu. Today, like all days, our human world needs our loving kindness. We say together a metta prayer to release those who are trapped in suffering, those who struggle, so they can find a path to joy and peace that the Buddha offers. We'll just repeat after me. May you be happy. May you be free from harm. May you receive boundless compassion. And may peace and harmony fill your heart. Namandha, namandha, namandha. Thank you. We usually finish with our Reno Buddhist Center theme song. If you would stand as you're able. The theme song is in the service book on page 49, as I best recall. Okay. Where the grass grows wild and the winds blow free. Away, away, come away with me, and I'll build you a home in the meadow. Come, come, there's a wondrous land for the hopeful heart and the willing hand. Build you a home in a meadow. The stars, oh how bright and far, on a world of pure and eternal law. The stars, oh how bright they'll shine, on that home we will build in a meadow. Come, come, there's a wondrous land for the hopeful heart and the willing hand. Come, come, there's a wondrous land where I'll build you a home in the meadow. Namandha, namandha, namandha. Please be seated. I would also point your attention to the announcements at the bottom part of your order of service. There's a very important tea and treats available downstairs.